Okay, so this is vlog 3 about Overwhelm. And this is just my home away from home. I think that we all come here with our little storylines that we grapple with and have to learn from and learn alongside. And this is one of mine. One of my first coaches pointed it out early in my life, or early in my, I was in my 20s, but it was early in my adult life, and she pointed out that I have the storyline around Overwhelm. And the truth is, I mean, I think there are some cultural reasons for that. I think there are some personal Ellen reasons for that. But it's one of the things I feel compelled to help people with. But that does not mean that I don't still rub up against it. And it seems like every time, and this is sort of what I believe happens in life with our growth and our evolution, that once we think we've mastered something, then the universe is like, oh, level up. It's time for you to learn about this at the next level. Hey. So what I think is maybe it's an award. Like, it's like, hey, you did a great job last round. Now let's try this again with these extra challenges, or bigger challenges or whatever. Well, I'm going to try and take it as a compliment that I did a good job last round. but I got some really interesting insights about Overwhelm in this the last week or so. So, as many of you know, I have a baby that's a business, and it's something I've been dreaming about for at least a decade. I'm really, really proud of what I've worked hard to build so far. And, in my heart, at least right now, that is a lifelong dream. So it really doesn't matter how this goes. I'm just going to keep working at it until it works. And it's something that feels the right amount of fulfilling, the right amount of successful, the right amount of impactful. And then I'm going to try to hold steady. So it feels good to know that I've reached that point and that kind of awareness. But, and I guess I would also say, I'm also trying to grow a baby at the same time. And as most of you know, I think some of you have not wanted to be rude or something and say it to my face, but don't worry, it's already in my head. I think people are like, oh, she's crazy. She's crazy trying to do both of these things at one time, and that is not gonna work. Well, guess what? You might be living inside my head. There's a good chance, because that has very much been the storyline. Like, my gut says that even though I would never, ever have intentionally planned or wanted to be trying to do both of these things at the same time, I feel called. I feel like for whatever reason, timing has unfolded in this way, and neither is a thing that I'm willing to lay down, at least at this point. And that's good to know, but then my head, who's been through life and has spent the last 10 years formally and informally researching and studying entrepreneurship and how businesses start, and watching mothers turn into parents, going from having a no child life to a child centered life. And the truth is, anytime you start anything, at the beginning stages of anything, they're the baby stages, they're the fragile stages, they're the stages that require the most effort, the most investment, the most time and love and attention. And you hear that from both entrepreneurs and parents. And this bozo right here, she thinks it's a good idea to do it both at the same time. No, I don't think it's a good idea. Apparently the universe does. But I'll be super honest in saying that I'm not 100% sure this is going to work. And The blessing and the curse of being my age is that, in choosing to be a parent or start a business, is that you've been around the block and you've watched other people. If you're smart, you've watched other people, and you have some clue of what you're getting into before you get into it. Well, I do. I have a real clue of not just like the general vague difficulties, but like what happens when you're single and you're 8 months pregnant and you can't get your damn shoes on because you can't reach your feet, or they've swollen so big that your feet don't fit in the shoes. So what do you do when you live alone? What do you do if you get put on bed rest? What if you end up with more than one baby in your belly and you're one person and you only have two hands? These are the things that have been like plaguing my head and like making me question my judgment and God's judgment to a certain degree, because this feels like an intuitive heart pull, call, whatever you want to say. And the timing is important for both circumstances. I can't really get into the details, but there are some family things, health things that are happening that make timing with a baby important. So unfortunately, waiting around and having a baby in a year isn't really an option for me, which has been mentioned by other people. That's why I bring it up. So, I mean, it's an option, but it's not one I'm willing to take right now. So with that in mind, I've been very aware of a sense of overwhelm. And then I was sort of really beating myself up that I couldn't move through the overwhelm, because it's something I teach other people to do. It's something that I've made so much progress on. It's something that, so I was then, not only feeling like a complete, like you're a crazy MFer, but then I was also thinking like, and you're like, so, you're so dumb that you can't even like get over the thing that you teach other people to get over. And then I got schooled in the best way by life in the last like 48 hours. I started talking to women, all mothers, all ages, and all different kinds of circumstances. And some very close to me and some not very close to me. I just happened to, bump into, or the conversation arose, people that I care about at work, whatever. And I learned through a sequence of really important other people sharing their thoughts, their wisdom, their perspectives, their just genuine curiosities, that sometimes overwhelm is actually really important. And I think I made the distinction for myself that was really helpful. So maybe it will be helpful for you. Overwhelm is dangerous when it is a chronic way of thinking or being. When you chronically feel like, the weight of the world is on your shoulders, the amount of chemicals that flood your body and your brain on a daily basis that can be just incredibly destructive to all aspects of your health and well-being is really dangerous. But when you brush up against a circumstance and you have an awareness of what that circumstance is going to, what it's going to shift in your life and what you need to consider to be responsible and thoughtful about it, and to just have a general kind of plan. And then you start, it forces you, that overwhelm, that discomfort forces you to talk to people, to reach out to your community, to explore new ways of thinking and seeing things. Then it's actually really adaptive. It's really helpful in problem solving the struggle that you're facing. And so, it's not a chronic way of living, but it is a really important sort of vessel to move you into the planning stages to prepare for the, because if I hadn't felt this crazy overwhelm, my friend Megan told me, you need to probably sit down with your parents and say, what happens if I end up on bed rest? Can I stay at your house? Or whatever, and my parents don't know that yet. Sorry, Mom, I'll give you a call. But just saying that, like, it's important. My cousin Beth was pointing out to me, she's like, I may not be telling you what you want to hear, but you are biting off a lot like, this is a big deal. And I would be worried. Actually, 3 or 4 of them said, I would be worried if you weren't overwhelmed. And I was like, oh, okay, that's good. That means you have some semblance of what you're biting off right now. And they all shared different pieces of perspective and from their experience and reflection on my experience that were helpful. And then there were a lot of overlapping pieces of wisdom, which, then it's true for show, because if it keeps coming at you, it's probably there's some truth in it. So anyway, and through all of that, reaching out to my community, being really honest with myself and with them about the things that I'm terrified about, asking for their honest feedback about whether or not they think what I'm choosing is completely irresponsible. Like, I got a lot of really honest feedback about that. And none of it was black and white. None of it was like, you should drop the business or you should blah, blah, blah. It was like, a baby's going to rearrange your priorities and you don't know yet what that's going to look like. And you need to get comfortable with, like, your timing changing. You don't have to give up your dream of your business if you have a baby, but you might need to just be okay with it going a lot slower than what you had anticipated or wanted. And, those were things I was kind of already thinking about, but I think I needed to hear it in a way that they all delivered it. And I could not be more grateful for all of them, for all of their experiences and their willingness to share the messiness of their lives. And, and the people that I love so much, that live far away, that I want to be a part of this, like, it just opened up some lines of communication and some fears that I've been having, that just releasing those and, like, having discussions around them helps so much. So, if you're going through overwhelm, I hope that you'll start to pay attention to whether or not it's a daily struggle. If it's like a chronic thing where it's your thought patterns and your behavior patterns that are just not serving you anymore, or if it's a circumstantial thing that's maybe really pushing you to start looking at and planning and thinking about how you can see things differently and shift the way you're holding things. That can be really adaptive. So if you want to see more of the vlogs regarding IVF or my cancer journey, if you want to see any of the other videos I've made about other topics that, might help you live a happier, healthier, easier life, check out ellenmarietanner.com. And thanks for listening and sharing the journey with me. Bye.